Hello, 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 and welcome to Lemonade Talks this morning. I am super excited because in the studio, we have with us live my mentor, Miss Shannon Smith. This is what I need you all to do. I need you all. I'm going to read her bio, and I want you to just begin to share this broadcast with everyone that you know. Share it, tell the family, tell your friends, tell your neighbors that we are live in the studio today with Miss Shannon. All right, Shannon Smith is a serial entrepreneur. I love that. She has been this for over 26 years. She is the founder and owner of Shamari Hair Salon, Beauty 21 Professional Hair Care, and Beauty 21 Academy. Her passion is serving and helping other entrepreneurs build and create a successful lifestyle while making six figures. She also has a mentorship coaching program for rising entrepreneurs called Boss Me Incorporated. Her nonprofit organization, the Beauty 21 Girl, desires to service underprivileged young adult females and rising entrepreneurs with female imaging, guidance and support, financial literacy, and job placement in the beauty community. No matter what field of service you're in, Shannon Smith can propel, push, and pivot you forward into purpose and productivity, producing the lifestyle of your dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Miss Shannon Smith.
Good morning. I'm so glad to be here with you. Thank you
Good
so
morning.
much.
Oh, goodness. This is going to be amazing. I already know. I can just feel it. I can just feel it. So thank you so much for being in the studio with us today. And we're going to be discussing your amazing journey. I have never
Yeah.
heard the term serial entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
I've heard
Listen,
serial killer, serial stuff, serial entrepreneur. I was like, wow, I love that. So I want you to tell us about this serial entrepreneurship and how you were inspired to go into the beauty industry.
well, I was inspired to go into the beauty industry. I mean, believe it or not, I was doing my own hair in high school, and my mom would literally pay for my hair to get done, and I would literally come back home and redo my entire head, right? And then, of course, being like active in high school with cheerleading and majorette and all this stuff, right? Just trying to be socially all together. I actually, believe it or not, I used to do the cheerleaders' hair. I mean, I just had a natural niche for it, should I say. I didn't recognize it, of course, until I got older. But in high school, I was doing my hair, my friend's hair. Uh, and then my mom also was a lover of the hair industry as well. She was a beauty professional. My mom was a licensed cosmetologist too. So that made a difference as well. And so I just did it, like I said. And I went to college, of course, trying to get a degree, because your parents like, hey, go to college, we would love for you to, have your degree, because they unfortunately didn't get one. And
Right.
so even going into college, like I was doing here at the dorms, like for real, I was
Wow.
charging like $20 a head, girl. And so
Yo,
finally one day, honestly, through going through college, I waited until literally my third year, my junior year of college. And I was like, God, this thing is not for me. Not to say it's not for everybody, but it was just, I discovered then that it really wasn't for me. And I kind of like, what's your passion? Somebody would ask me, like, what do you really love to do? And I was like, you know what? I do everybody's hair all the time. And it was easy for me. And it was something that I love to do, to make people feel good, look good. And so honestly, I came out of school and enrolled in cosmetology school, and it's been up from there. So
wow.
that's
So
that's
it's
my
already
start.
in you. This is
Huh?
what you've been doing. I mean, you're just making money doing what you already love doing.
Correct. Honestly, yes, very much so. But it all
Yeah.
started at home, doing my hair, friends' hair, everybody coming over, making
Mhm.
us cute before a football game. Honestly,
Right.
it really is, right?
It's so funny you should say that. So many people, they try to find what's their purpose, what my purpose is, and it's right there. He says already in you. He gives us the power, the ability to get wealth. What you need is already in you. You know, it's
Absolutely,
already
absolutely.
there. Yeah,
It was already in me. I just didn't know it. I was trying to create something different based off of what my parents, because I told you, remember, they
wow.
said, hey, we want you to go to college. We've never been. And so I wanted to please them and do things that they wanted, but not
Mm,
understanding that, guess what? It just really wasn't for me. And I made the decision to say, hey, you know what? This is what's for me. And my parents accepted it. And they always told me how proud they were of me, regardless of what I did, and they see the fruits of it. And so they were like, man, we're
wow.
super proud of you. So, sometimes it's a different path. Mine was
And
beauty.
right. And that's okay. You say that. I remember one girl, she went to college. She did what her parents told her to do. She came back and she gave the degree and said, here's your degree. She gave it back
Wow.
to her parents and said, now I'm going to go do what I want to do.
Listen,
Yeah.
but you know what? And a lot of people do that, believe it or not, and they're actually more successful doing what they absolutely love, and like you said, what's already on the inside of them. But I
Mhm.
get it. We try to please our parents, true
Yeah.
story, and I tried it, and it just didn't work for a sister. But guess what? They still are very, very much so proud of me, push me in everything that I'm doing as an entrepreneur. So I
That's
love it.
amazing. Oh my goodness. So as you know, I recently, about a year ago, I released my book, Lemonade,
Yeah.
Making the Most of What You Have. Now, when you heard that, so you and I have had a lot of discussions about this lemonade, okay? Now, in what ways did it strike you in terms of being an entrepreneur when you heard the term lemonade, making the most of what you have?
Oh, listen, I told you from the beginning, I was like, this is for the entrepreneurs. Because honestly, think about it. We start with a bag of lemons, right? As entrepreneurs, we are creative. We start with a whole bunch of ideas. That's a bag of lemons. So think about those. Each lemon in that bag is an idea, right? A creative idea. But we also know that in a bag of lemons, all lemons aren't good, right? And we have to have that trigger of like, what's on the inside, right? That's going to really propel us forward in whatever we do, right? So we're looking for that master idea. We're looking for that perfect lemon that will give us what? The perfect kind of lemonade, right? Or the
Mm-hmm.
a group of lemons, right? When you put it together to create this gallon of lemonade, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it was perfect because once again, as an entrepreneur, we're very creative. We have a lot of ideas that go through our head like a bag of lemons, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it's about what is that one idea that we can master that will open it up, that we can use the other lemons as well, right? And go
Mm.
from this 1 liter to this 2 liter to this pint to this gallon.
Mm.
And so
Wow. Yeah.
that's how I looked at when you said making the most out of it, because you do start with little, right? You
Right,
start with
right,
a seed. You start with a seed that you drop, and you begin to water that seed, and you create from that one seed, you create what? Lemons to lemonade, right?
right,
So
right.
I mean, it was like perfect, honestly, for me,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm.
we start off with a bag of lemons. We
Right.
all over the place. We have a lot of ideas, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it really does, when you really think about it, and who I've looked at over the years being a beauty professional, I will call him out, was Paul Mitchell. He started out as a beauty professional, right? Which he started out with a certain bag of lemons. We'll talk about that low hanging fruit, the small bag, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he mastered being a licensed professional. And then
Mm.
he branched off into the products. Then he branched off into the school, which he added more and more lemons that created this big jar of lemonade, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's such a powerful book and statement that you made, because honestly, we start from little,
Mm.
nothing at the
And
bottom.
I got a question for you. You
Mhm.
said something that made me think. You know how people say they can be a jack of all trades, but the master of none. And you
Uh-huh.
got all these different things you're trying to juggle at once at the same time. You're good at so many different things, and that's okay. Like me, I'm a jack of all trades, but if this doesn't get off the ground, then I'm gonna run over here and do this. If that don't get off the ground, I'm gonna go and do this. So how do you keep yourself focused so that you can keep all these things in balance and keep them all thriving at the same time?
Well, because you understand your why and why you're doing it, for one. That's the biggest thing, is understanding your why. For me, going into the beauty industry, being able to set my own hours, not realizing that later on down the line that I would have a family, right? But in the beginning, it was just the ability to be able to what? Create my own path, create
Mhm.
my own hours. And so I just think when you understand why you're doing something, you can stay a lot more focused in that area
Mm,
versus kind of going over to the right or left. And you're willing to go through the process, right? Because we
right,
know that sometimes it just don't happen fast. A lot of people wish that it could. They want the microwave. Hey, I put it on 2 minutes, 1 minute, and pop, I have a whole, heated up. Well, I have a bag of popcorn, right? But it
right.
doesn't work that way, right? So we know that it literally takes time, but that's how you stay focused, when you understand your why. That's the biggest
Mm,
thing.
okay.
Understanding why this idea, what's behind this idea, how am I going to help people with this idea, right? How am I going to be a solution to someone's problem with this idea? How can I
Mm,
make others feel good? And it takes a lot of humility to recognize that, because it's not about you per se, it's about what you're going to offer someone else. So
mm. Yeah, and I think a big mistake a lot of, and me included, a lot of entrepreneurs make, they go into it with the idea of making money instead of being
yeah,
the solution to someone's problem. You got to
absolutely.
first present the solution to someone's problem, then you won't have a problem making money.
Absolutely. Well, it can't be all about the money anyway. It has to be all about the service. And I
Right,
believe, because think about when I told you how I started. I started with loving to fix my own self up, right? And then
right.
I also helped others feel good and look good, and just helping them do that. I didn't realize that in doing that, that it would allow me to create the lifestyle that I live now and make six figures for all these years, right?
Mhm.
So but it was literally me genuinely helping someone what? Look better, feel better, be able to present themselves in a whole different way and look better, right? So it's about how well you serve others, and in
Mm.
serving others honestly, and providing help and lending to others. I truly believe God will bless you tremendously. What you make happen for one, God will truly make happen for you. So
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. You said something earlier about family. So there's a chapter in my book called Finding the Formula. Now,
Mhm.
my experience as a music teacher when I first got started, it was a struggle. And I
Mhm.
really, really had to go through a lot of hurdles to figure out how to overcome those struggles. Now, as a businesswoman, how did you find the formula to
Wow.
balance your life as a full-time mother
Mhm.
and entrepreneur while managing your business?
Oh, listen. It was, well, first of all, I will tell you this. I had help. Before my mother passed, I had help. My family helped me a lot. My husband, he helped me a lot. But also, it was times where I literally had to bring my kids to the salon. I would literally leave the salon, go pick them up, bring them to the salon. They would do their homework, and they remember those days too. So when people talk to my kids, they were like, man, I remember when my mom started. She had to literally come pick us up, bring us to the salon, make sure our homework was done. So it was a lot of, like I said, help from family, help from my husband, as well as me having the ability to, by working for myself, being able to say, hey, between the hours of 1 and 3, I have to be able to pick my children up, or by 6:30, 7:30, I'm having to leave to do this. So that's how I was able to kind of manage having kids along the way and working as a full-time entrepreneur. I made the time and I managed the time, and I didn't allow, let me say this, I didn't allow greed or money or uh different situations to come my way to kind of deter me from that. I stuck with it. So people knew
Mhm.
between a certain hour of day, it was my kids. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Now, as they matured and got older and mommy expanded and did different things, then that's when you have the sit down at the table. And I would sit down and tell my kids, hey, you know, your mom is an entrepreneur, right? I don't have the traditional 9 to 5 job. I work long hours. Some days I may be out of town. And they became a part of what I was doing, because guess what? When I would take them out, they would advertise for me. They would tell like waitresses and waiters, you know, my mommy does hair. My mommy owns a salon. So, like, honestly, when you're just truthful with them, the older they get and they're able to understand what mommy does for a living, they become a part of it. So they made it easy for me along the way as they matured too, because I
Wow.
had the conversations with them as well. So now they just be like, Mama, go be great for real.
Oh my gosh. And now they're able to now to take your lead and your lead that example that you set for them, and they're doing amazing things. Talk about your kids.
Well, yes, listen, I have absolutely amazing kids. You know, they're smart, they're very, very smart, intelligent. They also are athletes. They work really, really hard. And I think, like you said, because they've seen their mom and their parents sacrifice and work really hard to obtain things, right? So they do the same. Their work ethic is absolutely amazing. And I'm not saying that just because they're my kids either, but they're not lazy kids. They really do work hard because they're trying to create a lifestyle themselves. And of course, we know that ultimately God wants our kids to live even better than their parents. So my children will literally live better than me. And so to see them kind of excelling in all areas and their mind is still
Mm,
together,
wow.
listen, I
You better talk
absolutely
about
love
that. Listen, come on.
they ain't
Talk
lost their
about
mind, baby.
that. People
Listen,
see you. Come on, talk about that peace of your mind, having your
the
sanity. Come on, let's talk about that. Let's
yes.
go there. Come on.
Because honestly, with my children, because being an athlete, as you know, they're football players, is very competitive. And
Right.
they go through the favoritism, they go through the popular, you know, go through the politics of it, just like business owners. We go through politics, we go through some different things. And sometimes we can lose focus because we're looking at who's getting ahead before us and all of that. Well, what I thank God for is that my children understand timing, right? And they understand,
Mm,
listen, I might be this first year. I've, you know, like for instance, they're used to winning, right? And then when my two older boys go to college, and they're like, first of all, they are used to winning, they're used to starting, they were used to all of that growing up in little league, high school, middle school. And so when they began to get in college and they had to deal with what the politics of it all and deal with
mm,
certain things, I thank God my kids did not lose their mind. And that is the honest truth. They were strong in their mind and they understood the timing of God. And now they're
mm.
watching God show up for them. Because I told them, I said,
Wow.
nothing happens overnight, but just know when it's your time, be ready. And if you stay
Mm.
ready, even in the midst of sitting on the side, having to cheer
Mm.
others on, right? Because it takes a lot of humility to what? Sit on the side when you know that you're worth playing and cheer someone else on and just understand, guess what? Your time is coming. So guess
Wow.
what? To see them now doing exactly that and their time is here and they never lost their mind, absolutely.
Mm, mm, mm.
Absolutely.
I look at, while we're waiting in our period of waiting, it's building our character. Is
Absolutely.
building so much that we don't see. Yeah, I think about the movie The Karate Kid, and
Yes.
Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi set Daniel up when he wanted him to get the bullies off his back, but he said, "I'm gonna set you up real good. You gonna fight them in this competition, but I'm gonna train you." So Daniel thought it was gonna be a traditional training school. Mr. Miyagi had him washing cars, painting fences, painting the house. And then you finally got mad. It was like, what in the world is this? When are you going to train me how to fight? But he didn't realize the whole time, wax on, wax off.
Wax
It was training him the entire time. So when he tested him, he was able to pass the test.
Talk about it, because it's the discipline. See,
Come
it's the
on. Yeah.
discipline
Yeah.
and the consistency. Remember, he had him doing it every day.
Every day.
He was putting it in. So it was the consistency, the discipline, and the mindset that he was trying to get him to see that, hey, you can beat him with the way you think, how
Uh-huh.
smart you are, right? You can outsmart him just by what I'm showing you, right? The
Right.
techniques. And so a lot of times it's just like with business, right? It's really
Mhm.
literally the mindset. I talked about that, in my brains to build a lot. It's the mindset. You got to have a sober mind. You have to be strengthened in your mind. And you have
Mhm.
to understand that no matter what you go through, the hard thing, the hard times, the process, it's still going to manifest. And like you said, it's building character. And what is God really trying to get out of me? Because he's trying to
Mm,
get something out of us, right?
come on.
And it's normally the best that's in us that he's trying to pull out of us. And I
Mm.
mean, you could, because we could be all over the place. And that's the truth.
I'm raising both of my hands on them.
Oh
All
no, that
over the
mind
place.
got to be steady. Listen,
Yes.
people got to stop playing. Your mind have to be steady, because one thing he understand is that, like he said, you can't be tossed like the wave of the sea. You can't be tossed like your faith. That's why your mind got to be steady, so your faith can be steady. It don't matter what it looks
Wow.
like. I'm telling you. And so when you see that your kids' mind is together, listen, and they can go through life and
Hmm.
understand the battles and the peaks and the valleys, and know that they're going to
Mm.
come out victorious. Oh,
Period.
listen, let me tell you something. That is amazing to me. Like,
Listen.
for real.
Yeah, the mindset is it's so important, even as a entrepreneur, whatever you want, whatever you're doing, your mindset. Even poverty itself is a mindset.
It really is.
So
It really is.
talk
Well,
about that.
you know what? Honestly, Chelsea, honestly, people, they don't want to take losses, right? What I thank God
Mm.
for is that our children have seen us take losses, and they watched how we responded to them, the way we responded to them. So this is why, to me, they can respond to disappointment sometimes the way that they can, you know what I'm saying, like, or when things doesn't happen the way that they feel like they should, or at the time that they should.
Hmm.
It's all about the way you respond to things and how you handle things, even as a business owner as well, right? As an entrepreneur, it's all how we respond. You cannot be pitiful in a pit. I've said this so much, and a lot of times we get in these pit places and we get pitiful, versus getting power in a pit and then going back out and just like, listen, thriving in purpose. Because we're going to have the pits, right? We're going to have the pitfalls. But we just get so pitiful in that one little pitfall that, I mean, I be like, honey, is you dead?
Right,
I mean, seriously, like, you ain't gonna die. Like,
right. Come up.
it's something that God, like you said, honestly, he said, out of your belly shall flow rivers. So obviously, honey, God is trying to create some streams in me. And I mean, listen, but honey, if I you can't fall in the pit and just get so pitiful that, child, I mean, you still have streams in you. You still have rivers out of your belly. You still have purpose in you. You still full of
Mm.
power. And once
Wow.
you recognize that, but it takes this up here to understand that. And then, of course, the people around you too helps
Wow.
pull you
Talk
out
about
of a
changing
pit.
your circle. Your circle.
Oh,
How important that is.
absolutely. Your circle has to, well, see, you know what? Some people, like, honestly, loyalty is great. It is. But I need some loyal, strong minded loyalty, right? Strong minded, right? Because we
Hmm.
understand that when I'm weak, my friends are strengthened and strong in that area. And they're able to what? Strengthen me and build me back up. And so you will go through the changing of guards, like the changing of friends, a lot of times in growing in business,
Hmm.
especially at different levels in your business, right?
Hmm.
Um, I had certain friends when I started. Um, when I first started my hair salon, I had certain friends that came along in expansion of my business. And I have certain friends now in the beauty academy, in the beauty school portion, that now are becoming my friends. Because guess what? They have the wisdom, they have the strength, they have the mindset that even
Mm.
in my weakest moments, right? They're
Hmm.
able to say, keep going.
Right.
So you
Mm,
will change friends. I'm not saying you will change them all the time. You will have that certain best friend, because everybody have that high school friend, that
right.
best friend for 15, 20 years that just love you no matter what, right?
Period.
But you
Right.
also need those pushers, right?
Yeah.
Those set of friends that will push you and propel you no matter what. So you have a certain group of friends when it comes to business and personal. It's a separate type of thing to me, because I have personal friends, but I also have business friends, right? I have
Got
those
you.
personal friends, honey, they'll love me if Chad just, honey, they just love me, right?
Right.
But
Right.
I have those business friends that'll look at me and say, listen, you can't be a big fish in a small pond. They'll pull it out of me, right? They'll say,
Mm,
no, you can't just throw this flyer out here. No, you need to be at this level with your flyer. So they're pulling things out of you. They're pushing you to that next level to be great, or to be your greatest self, right?
mm,
Present your greatest self. So you'll have two sets of friends. And
right.
people be trying to have that one little set of friend that think they're
Mm.
gonna be, it don't happen.
Right, right. It's something that dawned on me the other day, just about you really had the friends that you choose, and not being around people who are low level thinking. We talk about that so
Mhm.
much at the Harvest Tabernacle Church, about low level thinkers, even in their faith, people that are not on the same level as you are, and they can speak negatively, and that can affect the way you the way you begin to view yourself and what you're doing, and it can actually cause you to regress, as opposed to progressing. Let's talk about the power of words in our language and what we say.
Well,
Eh,
the power of word.
hold on, y'all. Now, before she goes into this was not on my script. We have totally gone completely off script, but that's all right. This has been good. So go ahead and talk. The power of words. Power of words. Let's
Well,
go.
the power of words is everything, because God said you're gonna eat the fruit of it. Like it's the power. There's life and death in the power of the tongue, right? So we understand that we ought to speak life every chance we get. But now, do we take it personal when we have friends that, honestly, because they've never seen it or they've never experienced it, and they can't be positive about it?
Mhm.
We don't take it personal. We just understand where they are, right? As a
Right.
friend. And so we keep them at that place. So we don't discuss thriving businesses or different things that we're trying to accomplish with them until we feel that they've matured. Because I don't believe in just throwing people to the side sometimes. Now, granted, you do have to put people in categories, right? We understand that, because sometimes well, all the time in business, there's seasonal businesses, right? So
Mhm.
you know that you need people who constantly are building in their faith, right? And their mind is stable to be able to speak certain things to you, especially when you're trying to progress in business, right? But then
Mm,
you also have that set of friends, like I said, who haven't seen it because they have not experienced it. And they may see it through you and they may experience it through you, right?
right,
We
right.
can't neglect the fact that they just need to see God move in your life. I've had friends like that along the way, right? I started off with high school friends who it was just cute to be cute, right? And then now over the years, when they're friends of mine on Facebook, but we still high school friends or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, girl, look at what you're doing. Because just because they didn't experience it, but now they're experiencing it through me. So I just believe, and they're a lot more positive. I will say that it allowed them to change the way that they speak. So honestly, sometimes God will use your positive energy for someone who has negative speaking, or we'll say positive words, that someone, he'll use your positive words for someone who, just because of life, right? Hard times. Because we understand life sometimes will beat you up and it will create a negative language, right? And so it will take that friend who have gone through similar things, but
Mhm.
have saw victory in it, that they're able to go back and speak what life to that friend. And
Wow.
because you went back to speak life to that friend, now that friend can begin to speak life to someone else. But I didn't say you got to dwell there, right? It's all
Right.
about just speaking it, dropping the nuggets, dropping the seed, and keep it moving, because you
Oh, yeah.
understand to for movement for yourself that it does take what the positive language, positive words, the energy, the atmosphere, all of that for an entrepreneur is very, very crucial, right?
Hmm.
So a 9 to 5 person may not understand that, because guess what, they're just used to their daily routine. As
Hmm.
an entrepreneur, we know that our routine could change at a flip of a moment, or
Right.
a second, right? So we need people around us who honestly understand what that road and that
Mm.
path. So
Wow.
I just believe, because I have friends that, because they have not um started a business before, right? But now they're in a position, and they were negative in the beginning. But when they came out of their comfort, and now that they're wanting to create a business, their language changed instantly.
Mm.
You kind of see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
they're having to come back and say, hey, I thought about what you said 6 months ago, and I might have took it this way, and I didn't feel so good. But now I really understand how now in starting a business, I really do need to think about this, or I really need to do that. So I don't know. It could be you just have to use Holy Spirit, be a discerner, but I don't think every negative word that someone speaks, a lot of times it's just because they haven't had the faith, or they haven't been around the type of people that will push them out of their comfort. And
Wow.
so I didn't say dwell there. I just said
Right.
continue to be the example. And I think the more that you continue to be the example and speak life, because you understand speaking life and believing that, guess what, the manifestation comes. And then when they see the glory on your life and they see the manifestation on your life,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it makes a believer out of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
Wow.
and I want to give this example. I've had stylists that honestly, when they come in, some people will be like, how and why did you hire them?
Mm.
But I knew in my conversation with them in an interview, I knew what was on the inside of them. I just knew that life had beat them up. I knew that they had come from a salon that they felt less than, or they were beat up. And I understood my assignment was to pull them out of this dark place, this pitful place. I didn't say dwell there, because I felt like me just walking in, being an example every day and living my life and dropping little nuggets, that it would change their life. And guess what? It began to do that. I'm telling you, I've watched stylists that come in one way and leave out a whole nother way and become salon owners as well.
Wow.
And they'll come
Wow.
back and tell me it was just the way you would conduct meetings, the way you would speak to me, the way you would walk in, the way you would. So I'm telling you, sometimes it's just the way you move that
Hmm.
will change someone's negative thought or
Hmm.
their negative way of talking. I'm telling you, it will change. It will change their life. So
Wow.
we just have to be mindful of that.
Mm, mm, mm. This has been absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Somebody said, "Know your assignment. You see differently." That is absolutely true. Um,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to bring you back later so we can do like a part two, because there was so much we didn't get to. But this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being in the studio with us
Yes.
today. Do you have any lasting words or words of advice for those of us who want to go into entrepreneurship?
Well, listen, all I can say is when you talk about making the most of what you have as an entrepreneur, lemons, when you think about a bag of lemons, honestly, and all the lemons actually look very, very good. And you think about those lemons as your ideas, what's creative, but it's what's on the inside of you, honestly, that makes your belly leap, your baby leap. And when I tell you, when he says out of your belly shall flow rivers. That means that idea is going to flow, it's going to be fruitful, it's going to bless everyone that comes in contact with this lemon, right?
Mhm.
And it will create the biggest glass of lemonade. You will break the glass ceiling. So I just say for all the entrepreneurs out there, just continue to be what? Consistent, continue to thrive, continue to believe. Make sure your faith is strong, okay? And whatever it is that God puts on the inside of you, and He will manifest every promise that He has for your life. So,
Amen.
yes, I'm telling you, you will make
Amen.
lemons. You will make lemonade out of lemons for real.
Come on, lemon meringue, you name. Somebody had a question. They had
Oh,
a
okay.
question for you. They said,
Okay.
"Does everyone need a mentor?"
I believe so. Absolutely. Because it is phases that my business went through that I absolutely needed a mentor. And I still have one to this day. Even with all the businesses that I have, I still have one to this day that will advise me and say, hey, Shannon, do it this way, try it that way. So I absolutely believe wholeheartedly you should have a mentor.
Absolutely. Well, this has
Yeah.
been great. Are there any other questions in the audience? I didn't realize we were going to have questions coming through.
Listen,
Listen, it was good. Like that, you have been dropping so many nuggets. I'm like, wow, let me grab that. Let me grab that. But I don't see any other questions coming through. Thank you so much once again, Shannon,
you're
for being with
welcome.
us on today. This has been
Yes.
incredible. You all enjoy your Saturday, and we will see you next time on Lemonade Talks. Goodbye. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you so much.